Can you believe 39% of all skills will be outdated within the next 5 years?
Yeah, and you find yourself unemployed if that's where you are currently. So the way I showed up is how people treated me.
Wow.
Because I look at how I show up now, people also treat me the way I show up. You know, you basically teach people how to treat you. A lot of people don't evaluate the environment, and we try to just show up in a manner that maybe what we're doing is not right, and that's not the right place, that's not the right time.
So you've said a lot of things there.
So-
The idea of adapting, the idea of a system, the idea of people, how you have to constantly be evaluating and almost reading the room to a degree.
I moved from that place by inviting myself in the rooms that I was not invited. And the truth is, nobody cares about you. And you find that the places where you want to be, you're not getting invited.
You don't find your dream career in a job description.
No.
You create it by chasing your curiosity.
Sometimes we are afraid to do something. You fear shame. I don't want shame. We're trying to break that burden by sharing stories of courage, resilience, and we want to be able to celebrate your story.
Shameless.
Hello, Shameless family. So today I had to follow Khodani. It was like, she did this thing where she was just like, we did this podcast episode. It was an audio episode, and then we did the whole thing, and I was like, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And then she's like, nah, I don't really like it. Can we reshoot it? And then you started ghosting me. And blue tick left me on 2 blues, and then
But I was responding. It was just the time. But you know what happened when we shot the episode? Yes, I felt like I was fumbling a lot.
Yeah.
However, during the time that we had to reshoot, I think it was like also during the move, you know, and the time zones changed, a lot changed. So I'm glad that you followed me
I followed you, so I had to come all the way
to China
Beijing, China,
to shoot this episode
in
Can you believe
person.
it?
You're not getting away. I will find you like Liam Neeson did. So it is absolutely a pleasure to have you again on the second round of this.
Thank you. I think I'm honored. You know, this is my very first time actually that I'll be on podcast.
We said this before. This is the second time because the first time. It's your first time.
Yeah. I think I've never really done like an interview that like has gone. Actually, I've done one interview, but it was more of, like being asked about something that is related to job hunting, but not necessarily like a proper sit down when I get to talk about myself.
Yeah.
So first time we did it, I actually got a shock that, oh my gosh, I have to talk about myself. I was not prepared.
Yeah.
But let's see how it goes today.
Well, the thing is, that's the beauty about Shameless. Shameless Podcast is a space where we hope to be able to unpack not only about somebody's career, professional space, but really trying to bridge the difference between your personality, the fears, the imposter aspects, as well as how you then become better in both a professional and a workspace. So I am glad that you're back, and we're going to do this on a second round. So the topic for today is from climbing to calling, rethinking career progression and job placement in a changing world. And the world is forever changing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like as you're talking about like the forever changing world. You see, I'm fumbling again. So when you're talking about the forever changing world, I'm like really thinking about my current role right now, where you know, a lot is influenced by, you know, geopolitical, social media, the trends, like so many things. There's so many dynamic. And also when you want to do the best, you have to like have that mentality to adapt very quickly. So now being in that space where I'm really living it, it's like crazy.
And it ties in so well. And you know, the craziest
so
thing,
crazy, yeah.
can you believe 39% of all skills will be outdated within the next 5 years?
I can actually believe it, and I always say, if you're doing a job right now that is repetitive, please find ways that you can make it automated yourself. Don't wait for somebody to come and do, like, take out the data or, do the study for you, and then they make it, they automate it. You should be the one to do that, because that job is going to be replaced. So I can completely believe, yeah.
And so if you're part of that 39%, you have to be very proactive about how your career is moving, where it's going.
Yeah.
And otherwise, like you said, it'll be done for you if you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah, and you find yourself unemployed if, that's where you are currently. So, yeah.
And so maybe for some of our viewers, listeners, could you do me a favor and just maybe introduce yourself? Because I know how you love talking about yourself. You're just like, yes, this is the moment I've been waiting for.
Yes, so Khodani Hlatswayo, I am a mom, I'm a wife, I am a career strategist, meaning that I do career coaching, focusing more on career strategy, on how you can progress in your career and also go for something that you really love. I am also a project engineer, project group manager in an automotive environment. So I'm working abroad, worked in South Africa for more than 10 years in an automotive industry as well. I've worked for different companies and now I'm here. So this is me.
So you mom, strategist, and then project group manager.
Yeah.
Those are three different things.
And we make them work.
You make them work?
But they interlink, eh?
Do they?
Yeah, I mean, when you are leading a project, sometimes, and working with people, you sometimes have to treat them like your babies when you want when you want them to deliver results, if they're not delivering results. So how do you, make them, or rather influence them to deliver the results? Okay. It's the same as sometimes it's like how you would influence your child to do something when they don't want to do it, because babies don't really understand, I don't want to say discipline, but for them, they don't really think of the consequences. Like when they're saying, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to eat. You give them maybe, or you mix the veggies with something that they don't see them, and then you feed them. Yeah. But then in a project environment, when you want somebody to deliver, you need to find a way to unpackage the message correctly, which I would usually say, hey, I need this to be delivered by this date. I am going to present it to this level. And sometimes it pushes somebody to, to deliver. Yes. More especially when they are dragging. Yeah.
And so, firstly, you said automotive. Is there any reason why you don't want to be like, boom, we're staying away from that?
What?
You just use generic automotive as if, bicycle companies?
Oh, no, cars. I make cars for a living.
You make cars for a living.
Yes.
And you're an engineer making cars for a living.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just dive right into it, because surely to get to a group role, manager role in what seems like quite a male-dominated space, you have to be very intentional about how you structure your career, how you then drive your career, the balance between aggression versus allowing for things to just happen naturally.
Definitely. I mean, looking at where I started in my career, I was a crybaby.
Crybaby?
Yes.
What do you mean crybaby?
Because I couldn't take a lot of things in. I couldn't take feedback. If somebody tells me that, oh no, your work is not correct, you could improve it here and here, I would feel like, you're marking me down. It would feel like, university or high school when you're getting an X, instead of a tick. And sometimes I would literally run to the bathroom and cry. Yeah, I hated also confrontation. If somebody confronts me about my job that I did not deliver correctly, I would literally be not able to take it and just run to the bathroom. And sometimes working with males can also be like a It's a very different dynamic in a technical environment, to be honest with you. Sometimes they would have meetings without me, and instead of me approaching it in a more strategic manner that I get involved, I would, sit back and be sad. And when they give me work that maybe I did not agree with, sometimes I would delegate something that I did not agree with, or, I couldn't challenge, but I had to really redefine how I want to look at my career going forward. And it's not only how I thought, this is what I want to see in the future. I saw like some females in front of me, and they were really pushing for themselves. And I remember one of the first feedback I was given by, she said to me, when you are, when something don't go your way, you show it on your face.
And so that thing where it's like your whole story is on your face.
And she literally said, you're like a baby. When somebody takes something away from the baby and you go like, yeah. And I had to train myself, to become different. It started with receiving feedback and really improving, and also evaluating that, is this feedback coming from a good place or a bad place? Is it like a destructive feedback, or is it constructive feedback? But in the beginning, I took a lot of feedback, as like very constructive, and really work a lot on myself. Yeah.
But then, so I guess it's easy to look back and say you were a crybaby. I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy. Those are pretty strong words, right? Mm-hmm. And would you say that you being a crybaby, mm-hmm. and you not really realizing it, mm-hmm. impacted the way that people then treated you?
Yeah, when I look back, I basically put a different perspective, and that perspective, that's basically not necessarily a perspective. The way I showed up, mm-hmm. is how people treated me. Wow. Because I look at how I show up now, people also treat me the way I show up. You basically teach people how to treat you, but if you don't teach them how to treat you, then they will treat you anyhow, which sometimes could not be what you really want to see in like a career progression.
But then now, so brilliant. So when you go, it's how you showed up that then resulted in also how people sort of projected back at you. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that sometimes we take things personally when we are the problem?
Yep.
That was quick. You didn't even let me finish.
Sorry.
No. But why? Why did you say that? Is there an example like where you did something, you showed up in a certain way, and then mm-hmm. you got the reaction, and only now do you look back and you go, you know what?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't evaluate the environment, mm-hmm. and we try to just show up in a manner that maybe what we're doing is not right. And that's not the right place, that's not the right time. So it's quite important that you always evaluate like the system in a place that you act, because that could also be career defining, Look at how people are. Look at how the surrounding is. Look at how the system is, and try to sort of like navigate yourself into how things are. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, if I'm working in a male dominated environment, or just when I'm in corporate and I'm showing up as a crybaby, when things don't go my way, I show it. That's not the right time and place. Yes. That's not the place and time. So therefore, it's really important that we always evaluate like where we are. And I look at where, working in South Africa versus working in China, completely different cultures. Yeah. So I can still show up the way I showed up in South Africa. And that does not mean that I'm losing myself. So there's a book that I read called, If You Don't Do Politics, Politics Will Do You. So now it's not necessarily meaning that you must be political, but the truth is, in a workplace, everything is political. So, but political is like the system that is used in different places. They're different. Yeah. So now how do you adapt yourself to progress in your career when things are different? If you don't adapt to, the way things are and improve, then you'll never progress in life. Yeah.
And So you've said a lot of things there.
Sorry.
The idea of adapting, the idea of a system, the idea of people, how you have to constantly be evaluating and almost reading the room to a degree.
Perfect. You said it perfectly.
And there's a right place and a right time. So I'm going to try as best as I can to now start teasing out some of those elements, right? Because I wonder, when you talk about people, and we talk about a technical space and how men then react to a crybaby. And now this is the last I'm going to talk about that, because I think there's a flip side to that coin.
Definitely.
Because there's also sort of stigmas associated to engineers, yada, 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 which are female versus men. But how did you feel that men reacted to you in the crybaby sort of environment?
To be honest with you, a lot of things were self-inflicted.
Okay.
When I look back now, sometimes you see things that are not there. And that's why I also don't really like it to say, oh, this is happening because it's like a more male-dominated environment, because it also imposed, like an imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because you start seeing things that are not there because you don't feel like you belong. Yeah. So, basically, I feel like it was self-inflicted. I wouldn't really say. I mean, there was a lot that was done that I did not agree with, but it was mainly females that would, mistreat me, like mark down my work, and you'd hear someone saying that this is wrong, this is not how you do, and they would scream as well. But from the male side, I never really received that. It's just that with my, manager back then, he wouldn't call me for certain meetings, and he would only give me, delegate a task at the end.
Oh, okay. So you weren't included in a room?
In a room where I could put in my idea, but only given here, go execute.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, so I'm very curious around that. How then do you move from a place of being othered or put to the side and said, you can only execute, versus where you want it to be, which is at the seat, at the table? How then do you build from that place to get to the table and be sort of entrusted and or, be part of that conversation from the beginning in the meetings? Is it a confrontational thing? Is it a knock the door down? Is it a prove your value? What is your view, and how did you then move from that place to that place?
That's actually a good question. So I moved from that place by inviting myself in the rooms that I was not invited in. They would have a meeting and
hold on, inviting yourself, you just be like, Coco,
that's happening.
Yeah.
It affects me. My manager is there. I'm a process engineer for the whole plant. That means that they're discussing process, or you ask hey, I see there's a meeting there, is there a topic, oh yes, there's an issue coming from where, but this topic also affects me. And also just giving my manager feedback that I would like to be included in these discussions, because being at the end for execution where you don't understand the root cause of the problem, you don't understand the foundation of the discussion, it makes you not connect the dots in so many places. Because sometimes they would execute and they say, no, this is not what we're looking for. Oh, yes, it's not what you're looking for because I was not part of the initial discussion. So when you are, when things are, I'm looking for the word of, cascading. When things are cascaded to you, a lot of things are missed. A lot of things are misinterpreted. So I was inviting myself then to be part of those meetings, and I would really try to find the landscape. For an example, you may find that there are meetings that are, being held regularly, but you're not part of them, but you are then getting the tasks to do out of that meeting. So what do? Hey, can I please be part of this meeting next time when you go? And just talk to them nicely that I would like to get involved and see them, see things from a different perspective. Yeah.
But then, so inviting oneself into a room, I feel is a very mature thing to do.
It is, and that's what would help you progress in your life. And I would say I think like 2023, I had a slogan where I'm saying that I'm inviting myself in rooms that I'm not invited. That means that I would browse through, like I look for functions that are happening where I see that would be beneficial in my personal life and also my professional life. I would sign up. I would invite myself. You know, when I see things that are happening at work, I would ask, is it possible for me to join? I just want to listen in until people see the value that you can add in those rooms, you know, because the more you invite yourself, the more you understand what it is to be in the table, the more you understand the input that you can also, you know, the value that you can also add. And that also comes with not just you yapping when you're there. It's also like, okay, you understand this is the topic. How do you view the topic? Research it, and then get into the meeting and have just one question or just have one statement that would make people see that you were also there. You know? Yeah, so it's really just building that foundation, or rather building for your career until you're invited to
more formally to be part of the table. But then, because in my mind, immediately, I think I've had sort of experiences where I wasn't invited, and it's easier, I feel, sometimes to like sulk, like to be like, well, if they're not going to invite me, then I'm not coming.
And the truth is, nobody cares about you. And you may find that the places where you want to be, you're not getting invited.
Yes.
And when you sulk, that means that you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
So you're just going to get stuck. And that's you who gets stuck.
Yes.
But if you invite yourself, yes, it doesn't feel right and it feels like you're imposing.
Yeah.
Look at the brighter side.
Yeah.
Look at the future. You know, don't build your career looking at the now.
Yeah.
Look at what would, how it would benefit you in the future, in the near future. Yeah.
And then when you talk about sort of manager feedback, how easy is it? Something you developed? Is it something that was natural to you? Because I guess that's also something that's difficult at times when you look at sort of some countries, some spaces, some cultures are always calling for sort of hierarchical sort of relationship. Now the idea of providing feedback might not always be accepted.
You mean feedback like top or bottom?
Top, like to those people who didn't invite you, right? So
Yes,
you're like,
yes.
yo, I should have been in that room. Next time you don't do that, I'm going to bring my knife to your house. I assume you didn't do that, but
My manager said something that I don't know. I think he listens to me maybe when I'm like in meetings. I don't know, but like part of my feedback is like you've got a way of talking to people that would make them really want to listen to you and like follow or do what like you want them to do.
Yeah.
He's like, sometimes it's like very manipulative. I don't want to say manipulative, but whatever that you do, well done. You must keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, and there's a book called, what is the name of that book? The Power of People. Oh my God, I literally forgot the title. But the author talks about like the manipulation, like, everything is about manipulating.
okay, yeah.
And, you have to always find a way to talk to people. For me, the first thing that I do is to learn people, how people react to specific things. And you try to tap like a small feedback and to see how they react. Then if they don't take it well, then that's not the person that you can talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's not easy to give somebody feedback because people always feel like it's coming from like a bad, like from coming from a good place. They always look at it that it's coming from a bad place. So it's really more on just trying your luck and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then you stop. Yeah.
And then I guess that is slightly different. What you've explained there for me is not as traditional as sort of, back then, whenever. And really, it's calling upon a more proactive approach towards driving your own career, your own development.
Always have a why.
Okay.
If you approach someone with feedback that has a why, trust me, they would never turn you down. And that I always use a why. And sometimes people feel like, why do I have to explain myself to you? I should be there. And that's where you're failing, because your why is not very clear. So your why must always be clear. And if you want to do something and you're not succeeding, that means your why is not strong enough. Because you'd hear people saying that, I've tried this, I've tried that, but it's not working. I would put it like in a job hunting context, for an example. You find that people are saying, I've been job hunting for the last 5 years, but nothing is happening. The why in your job hunting is not strong enough. The strategy that you're using is not strong enough. So the strategy has to be strong in whatever approach that you take, so that people are able to take it.
So I'd like to then sort of pivot then, right? Because I think your career progression and some of the tools that you've used to get you to a part of where you are right now, especially like the whole kicking the door down and being like, hey, I am joining this meeting whether you like it or not. That's not what you said, but like, I really admire that. But then now, when you talk to that why component, right, that more personal drive for an individual, what do you feel has, what elements do you feel is this? How does one build a why? How does one build a strong why, a strong understanding of what they want and how they then overcome some of those things? Because I think that's always the question is, I'm trying. And
how does your career roadmap looks like? Professionally, personally, like how do you want to grow? So it's always important to map out your career roadmap, because it's going to be able to help you with pushing to the limit, because you know this is where I want to get to. And pushing to the limit does not mean that you must focus more like in the future, you know, where you stop living, you stop being present, because a lot of people, when they've got like a career roadmap, or rather they've got like a goal that they want to achieve, like I want to become a manager, they stop really being present and focus more on just like, you know, when you're in meeting, you're acting like a manager because that's where you see yourself, but you stop building the foundation of becoming a manager, being present and getting the task done, because that's what would define then, or rather that's what would get you to the future. So that now helps you with building for the future. But if you focus on just building, like if you focus more on the future, then you forget the now, being present. For me, it's really the career roadmap that helps me, just mapping it down by I don't want to be stuck in one position for 10 years. So it's like from here to next level. How do we do it? What is required for me to get to the next level? So I always evaluate the prerequisites of my next level, because then it allows me to work on it. And, you know, without forgetting the mentorship. The people who have built me, I did not do it alone. It started from taking feedback and working on it. People get feedback, but they do not execute. When I started really seeing the result from execution, from feedback, that it's actually working like on my inner self, it was actually an aha moment that, you know, I need to really also look at those blind spots, and I can't see them. The people that are mentoring me, the people that are around me are the ones that I can, you know, I can count on to also really help me work on those blind spots.
And so I think that whole idea around mentorship, I think definitely is one pillar for a personal growth as well as a balancing on a professional side. That's how I've understood what you said. How does one get into mentorship? How do you just like go on LinkedIn and be like, yo,
Be my mentor.
I want you in my life from today going forward? Like how does one get a mentor? How does one get into mentorship? Like, or do you just, is everybody your mentor? Like, how does that work?
I mean, we've got formal and informal mentors. Formal mentors, building that mentorship journey, don't start with asking them, can you please be my mentor? Because you can be turned down. I was turned down before when I asked someone to be my mentor. And
They said no. They just said, I'm not interested.
No. They said they don't have the capacity.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And, I look back on us having a lot of meetings after even like them turning me down.
Yes.
I also realized that they actually didn't really understand what mentorship is,
Okay.
because somebody feels like mentorship becomes a burden, or being a mentor becomes a burden that you become accountable for that person's career. So the way I approach mentorship, I ask for a meeting with someone. Like, I don't define it as mentorship. I ask for a meeting for a consultation. Hey, this is my career roadmap. I'm trying to grow in this and this area. How do I do it? And mentorship, it's more of people that have also, or rather mentors are people that have walked the journey that you would like to walk. Usually.
Yeah.
It can also be somebody who's never walked it but understands, or rather can help you, which also that's like coaching. So you see someone who's like at the top, and you want to get to the top, you approach them to say, I would like to get to the top. How do I approach it? I would really like to get the tools and resources that can help me to get to the top. So you're not asking them to be your mentor. And then they give you the tools and resources, you execute, and you ask, can we have a follow-up meeting just to review where I am? And then that's how you can start with the mentorship and say, you know what, I really like our sessions. I think there's a lot that I can gain from you, and I've already achieved a lot from just that one meeting that we've had. Is it possible that we formalize it, we make it like a mentorship session, you be my mentor, and it can also happen like once a month or once in 3 months, So try and read the room. It's always about reading the room. Always about reading the room. When you send that email to request for the second meeting or the first meeting, just see how the person receives it.
Okay.
Then can also allow you to evaluate if this person can be your mentor or not.
Okay.
The first meeting, that's like an icebreaker. You want to see if really this person has, what it takes to become your mentor, because sometimes when you look at people that you think can help you, you may find that the first meeting becomes a failure because they're not who you think they are.
Okay.
It's like don't meet your heroes, because you'll get disappointed.
No, I want to meet my hero.
Sometimes you just
they can't disappoint me. Is this it?
What? I thought there was more, and sometimes like your heroes, you may find that like the face that they show has got like a lot of preparations in the background that they have to do, and now when you meet them like on like a one-to-one level, it's not what you think they are. And that's like me also, like with talking.
Yeah.
I mean, with the first podcast we did, I did not meditate, I did not practice, I did not do a lot of things that would prepare me to talk. So that's why I was like, oh no, I don't think I really, presented myself well the way I would have wanted to. Yeah.
But, and then.
Sorry to.
No. But I love that, because I'm going to go to exactly that point.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about mentorship, I think that's a very strong tool. And then now I want to flip it through back to the 5 a.m. club, right? Because that was something that also sort of changed you, changed your life.
Yes.
Because why? Because why?
If you've been following me for a while, or rather if we have connections on LinkedIn, Instagram, you would know that I start my day at 5 a.m. and I start with exercise,
Wait, hold on.
meditation.
5, like, is the sun even up at 5? Like, what time do you sleep? 8 p.m.? Do you get up
I sleep early.
You sleep
Yes,
early.
because of the kids.
Okay,
And
fair
the
enough.
reason why I also start my day at 5 a.m., it's also because of the time between getting the kids ready or getting myself ready to work. If it was not like, all the activities that have to happen before I get to work and the time constraint, I would probably start maybe at 6 or 7. So, but
I mean, the
whole
5 a.m.
concept,
club
the 5
is,
a.m. club,
yes.
It's the book that I read by Robin Sharma, which changed my life. I was given by my sister, who's also my mentor. She's really changed my life. Yeah, I'm forever grateful, So she gave me that book and I read that book. It really changed my life, and it allowed me to spend more time with myself, where I had to really evaluate what I want for my career, what I want for my career growth, where I see myself in the future, by just spending, more time by myself in the morning before it gets busy, before the kids are up, before my husband is up, and focus more on, on my family. I would have that time alone to just spend, like investing it on personal growth. And I see that a lot of people don't really invest in personal growth, in also just reflecting before they start their day. Your day is always busy with other people,
but
growth happens more when you're alone.
But why is spending time with yourself important? I mean, I wake up, I got things I gotta go. Like, why do I now need to sit there, think about
You need to reflect. You need to reflect on your day because it helps with personal growth. For an example, you get into a conflict at work because not a conflict, a disagreement at work, and you feel like people are mistreating you, people are treating you badly. If you don't reflect and really evaluate how you played a role into that disagreement, then you will never grow. You'll always play a victim. But then spending time by yourself and really dissecting what happened and how you see yourself playing a role, then it will help you to move out of, the place where you're playing a victim. And this is where a lot of people also feel like, people are undermining me, people are mistreating me. What role are you playing into that, being undermined? So that's why dissecting is very important, and moving away from playing a victim. So it's always important that you reflect and ask yourself, what really happened? And then what is it that you're going to do differently to move forward? If it's a place where you don't see yourself growing, are you then, how are you going to change it? Are you going to, if it's a job, are you going to get another job? If it's in friendship environment setting, are you going to move yourself and look for other friends, because your surrounding really influence how you become. And if you don't sit by yourself and really evaluate on what you want for yourself, invest in personal growth, then you will never grow. Yeah.
So you know what's so crazy about that? I was in a high tense environment. I had to deliver upon something, and then I parked my car in a way that I wasn't supposed to. Right. Okay. And I was like, I'm just gonna pop in, go do something, come back, and somebody saw that I parked it incorrectly, and they then took the keys, and they were like, no, and I was like, my man, I don't have time for this. Just give me my keys. I want to go. I'm like, no, you're not supposed. That's not a safe act, and you're supposed to not do that. I'm like, I'm not here for a lecture. I'm trying to get certain things delivered, and I don't understand why you're being like this. So just stop with this nonsense. I'm going. And I bounced. I left, right? But I make it sound like it was a lot nicer. It was heated. It was not nice. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. Driving the next day, and I'm in a more calm mood, and I was telling a colleague, like, oh, this is what happened. And they go, you know what? You know that you're in the wrong. You're the one who messed up, right? And I'm like, but he was his point was not even valid. It's like, no, but that's not you're not supposed to have done that, and therefore you did.
You parked
incorrectly. And then I was like, okay, so are you saying I should go and apologize now? And so I had to go apologize, which in my view, I wouldn't have had that frame of mind if I didn't stop, or if I didn't have that external individual to sort of help me reflect upon that moment. And so I can relate to the idea of reflection being a key part to that all. Question, networking. How does that help build sort of a career progression in this sort of ever-changing world? How much has your network helped you grow?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really trying to find a way that I can unpack networking, because it has really helped me a lot. Even getting to here, it was through network. Okay. And it was
unpack it through that. So how did you get here? How did you move from all the way to East London, South Africa, to end up in Beijing, China? I mean, because I didn't have that as part of the plan when we talked. It was just like, boom, suddenly, wait, how are you doing this?
That was your reaction,
wow.
Almost a year, how?
Just step of a finger and you're in Beijing. I was like, nah.
Yeah. I think the biggest career obstacle is, people just working hard and not really networking, expanding their networks, or just talking for their work. They expect that people will see what they are doing without really meeting people, networking, getting sponsors. And you're not an island. You cannot build your career alone. I mean, me being in South Africa, seeking for opportunities in China, I don't know anyone in China. But I would know somebody in South Africa that could know someone in China. So that's why it's very important that you really expand your network. And when I spoke about inviting yourself in rooms that you're not invited, some of the rooms are the rooms where you see like big shots and you want to build a relationship with them. You will never get invited in those rooms. So for an example, there's like a short workshop where they are there, and that workshop is worth like a lot of money that you cannot afford. However, you being there, you can then gain an access to those people. So somehow you can build your network that way. And for me, LinkedIn has really worked. Oh my gosh, I'm not advertising for LinkedIn,
but it's okay. It's okay.
really
I mean,
works for me.
How? Like, because that's a very interesting thing, because we have got tools around us. And sometimes I feel like we misuse them.
Definitely.
And if you don't know how to use a tool, then it's going to be as useless as or useful as you know. So can you give me an example as to how LinkedIn, like why do you say LinkedIn? And we are not paid by LinkedIn, just so you know. This is not a paid thing by LinkedIn. How has LinkedIn changed your ability to network, and how do you leverage that?
And I would like to start with when you talk about the tools that we have, but we're not leveraging them or on them. I'm very much on social media, but I'm not scrolling to see like what people are doing. I post a lot. And sometimes I would post and I would leave social media. But from somebody who's looking at me, they would think that, oh, this one is always on social media. Forever there.
Yes.
But trust me, I don't know about a lot of trends that are happening on social media because I'm not really scrolling.
Yes.
So LinkedIn, use it to post my work, and it can also be the work from my work, you know. And I'm also very strategic about it because you also don't want to do anything that is brand conflicting, right? So on LinkedIn, you've got like people at the top from your workplace. You've got almost everyone is using LinkedIn, but now when they get to see you talk about your work, then they sometimes like to engage with you. And for me, I've had like people that are in like executive roles calling me to say, hey, I love your work. Like, you know, they would ask like so many questions that would then connect me with them. So that's me like building network through LinkedIn. And this is like connecting with people that are in high places at work that could also help as like my sponsors. And I would also look at my career shifting from, you know, moving from South Africa to here. My husband got an opportunity. I had 4 months to look for a job.
Oh, wow.
You know.
So you were like under pressure at that point.
Definitely. I was in so much under pressure that I was calling almost everyone.
But you know, that's so curious because that's also a why, right? Like you talked about why earlier, right? And you then were like, okay, now this has become real.
Yeah, but it was also on my career roadmap that I want to work abroad.
Okay.
I remember, I think a few weeks before, I actually, like my husband got an offer. I met with my senior manager, like an executive, to say that this is my career roadmap. I would like to work abroad, even if it's just like on a short-term basis or like virtually, you know. And literally it happened, you know, my husband then got a call. Like, so I had it as part of my career roadmap. So however, now getting to here, I had to make contacts, like asking my executive manager, you're not from South Africa, you're from, you know, like a different country. Don't you know anyone that's working there? Okay, I'll try and find out if there are opportunities there. And that means that I've built credibility. It's not just about networking and people will put you in places. It's also about the credibility that you build. So that's why LinkedIn can also help you to build that credibility, because people get to see your work, and also not necessarily tangibly, because you are speaking about it. That's why it's quite important to speak about your work, because now then you are able to build that credibility through also speaking. Because some people are far from you where they can't really
relate with what you are.
No, they can't really see the output.
Okay, got you.
But when they see what you're talking about, then it's like, I would like to try this person in my team. Then you've built enough credibility that people can then trust that they can be your sponsor. Yeah.
So then, project manager, mom, strategist, 3 worlds in one person. How then do you create a brand? And do you feel like a brand is important, like a personal brand that maybe might be separate from a corporate and a professional brand? Are those two things different, distinguishable? And I mean, you talk about how on a social media platform within LinkedIn, you post, and you sounded like you almost have a bit of both in that space. So it's more personal branding as opposed to sort of career development growth.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot isolate career development outside of personal branding, because your values is what you carry everywhere. If those things are not spread out in like either your personal space or your career space, that means that you're not really showing up as yourself.
Yeah.
So you until you find the ground in who you are and the values that you believe in, then it would help you with that personal branding. Because I'm a working mom, I'm a career mom, therefore it's also showing other people that are either scared of becoming moms and still pursue their career, that you can still do it, you can still grow in your career as a mom. So it's also more on, yes, there will never be a balance. Sometimes, getting resources for support to be able to focus on one thing, like I've got a full-time helper here, also in China, also in South Africa, I had a full-time helper. During the week, I know I want to focus on work.
Okay.
And being a career strategist, I know I don't have enough capacity for that also. However, I want to help people grow in their career. So therefore, I would take maybe one appointment a day. That would be like 30 minutes or 1 hour. And weekend.
And that's outside of your normal
day. That's outside of my normal day. Okay. When I'm at work, I'm at work. We must deliver.
Yes.
That's why I'm very much KPI driven. I write the goals that I want to achieve in my role. I'm not just like running on a day-to-day basis. I get very frustrated if I'm doing like just running, and there's no results linked to what I'm doing. I really want to see the results at the end. And that's where somebody receives like their job description. They just do what they are given. For me, it's more of what can I improve from what I'm doing.
Yes.
So that's like me at work. And then outside of work as a career strategist, that's me helping someone find their aha moment, like harness that potential. And then me being a mom, weekends, I'm like fully present mom.
That's
wife.
what it is.
We do a lot of, we go a lot of places together. Yeah. So when I'm there as a wife and a mom,
yeah, in there.
My phone is away. I even have like a do not disturb schedule.
Okay.
But my phone at I think 8:30, it's off. Yeah, I won't receive any notifications.
So structured. You see my.
I am. Not very much structured, but schedule.
Okay,
I've got a lot of blockers where I try to focus on one thing at a time
to get the most value
out of it. Yeah.
And so then. You do a lot of mentorship coaching, right? And that balance between professional growth, personal growth, and also your own personal life and living it, right?
Yes.
So where do you see sort of the future of career growth and development, let's say in 20 years from now? Because there's a lot that's changing. Where do you see that as an individual, what we would need to start doing more of for us to be able to be as proactive and to be able to take the most out of life and grow our own journey better? And what tools would you be able to give somebody who's looking into the future, if you had a glass ball, which you might have a glass ball?
I mean, for me, honestly, I look at like future progression starting with mentorship, because sometimes you get stuck in places where you could move very quickly with mentorship. And I saw that with me. Was told a lot in the beginning that relax, like we took 20 years to become a senior, engineer. And for me, I had mentorship, I had mentors who were really preparing me for that. And something that took them 10 years or 20 years took me probably 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's really the discussions that you're having, the right questions that you're asking, understanding the why. Things change very quickly. What was happening 20 years ago is completely different to what's happening now. And if you look at the Gen Zs or the Alpha, they are taking over quickly because they are futuristic, whereas we look at like the experience that we have should get us to, the next level. But the truth is you always have to reinvent yourself in terms of skills, because the skills that are relevant for this role may not be relevant for the next role. However, they will be required, but they not even buts. However, they might not be a prerequisite for you to get there. It's like when you're job hunting. When you're job hunting, they write the skills that they need. So you may find that the skills that you gained 20 years ago are not part of the list that is required. So how are you reinventing yourself to gain new skills as we progress? So for me, looking at the future, just always look at where the future is going, or rather like where we're moving to, and try to align yourself with where we're moving to. That's why when I was talking about if you are in a role and you see that you can automate it because of like now AI, be the one that bring that change. Don't wait for somebody to come and do it for you, because that's what's going to happen in the near future. So be the initiator. That's basically my message.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's I guess it ties in with a quote for this episode that I have got.
Yeah, definitely.
So my quote is, behold the turtle. That only makes progress when he sticks his or her neck out. And the reason why I felt that was so powerful, why this quote relates to what we discussed, is because when you talk, or when you start to talk about being a crybaby, you walk into a space and you acknowledge now that you're a crybaby. You realize that you had to change and you had to work on yourself, your inner voice, your inner feelings, your inner emotions, your timing and your placing where there's a right time and a right place to do certain things, for you to be able to stick your neck out, for you to be able to show yourself. You don't necessarily be apologetic of who you are, but rather you build and you choose the moments to be able to express yourself in the right way. And you also combine the different elements. And you talked about the system, the people, the environment, all those components are things that you're constantly reading, and you are sticking your neck out at the right time. And you are essentially building that moment to be able to do that when it best suits it. And for me, I felt that though there were moments of difficulty being in a male-dominated space, that you inviting yourself into a room, you giving your manager feedback, is essentially that neck sticking out. And I love that you said if you get stuck in your own head, in your own space, nobody cares. Nobody's actually gonna.
Nobody cares. Like honestly, people just don't care. Everyone cares about themselves, and they are pushing their own brand. And when you play a victim all the time, you'll get left behind.
And the thing is, that is all for you, and that is only going to be to your benefit if you stick your head out and if you do something of that type. And so I think that portion of what you talked about is absolutely brilliant. And then when you then take a step back and you go, the three different components of what you bring, or your essence, being you being a mom, being a strategist, and even more so being a project group. Sorry. Hey, I'm sorry.
No, group is like a portion, not like the overall.
Okay, cool. No, being a group group project engineer, I think,
Or manager.
manager, having all those different components, combining that into one, and then having the ability to understand that you are not an island alone in order to be able to deliver all those things. You have to be able to have the right tools, and you have to have the right support.
Yeah.
When you talk about mentorship being something that is important to you, and how that has elevated your ability to get to where you want to be and where you are, allowing you to take 20 years of experience and not relearn lessons, but rather to fast track your development in a very direct and guided way, helping you see blind spots that you might not normally see, makes you a better person by having that ability to execute on that feedback. Then when you go further, then you talk about networks. We are here right now because one was able to have a strong why and a very good network, and to have that hunger to actually do that. But what I actually love is that you're using the tools that exist in order to be able to elevate your brand. And your brand becomes now something that gives you both credibility, but also allows for you to connect with different people to be able to get you to where you want to be. And the thing that I found so crazy or beautiful is the fact that you talked about the 5 a.m. club, which I think is fantastic reflection and all that, but it's more about consistency in a lot of the things that you talked about. Was you paint the picture, you then structure your stuff, and then you're consistently working towards trying to be able to hit all those elements and being focused in one particular element, then going to the next and doing that with all its energy, with all its vitality, with everything that you can give in that moment for that moment. And so I go this discussion about career growth, progression, and being able to adapt to the ever-changing world. Yeah. For me, it was beautiful, and why that quote touched is because I felt you continue to stick your neck out.
Thank you.
Though at times it might seem easier to be and safer to not, that constant journey or that struggle towards wanting more, being more, and not being apologetic, but being strategic about how you come across it and how you do it.
Yeah.
Is why I found it.
One thing I can say is some people are chosen when they get to a specific place, they are picked for development, and some people have to fight harder to be noticed. So you need to recognize like where you are. Are you like the easily chosen one, or you are the one that has to fight? So how do you become strategic to make your voice stand out, that people are then able to trust you, that you have to really work hard to build trust?
Wow.
So, I mean, and to be honest with you, talking about the male-dominated environment, it was not really hard to navigate my life, or rather career, around males. It was more harder to navigate my career around females in the male-dominated spaces. Yeah, I found more resistance with females, and with males it was easy to really try and push my way forward.
I think this world that we currently see is constantly changing. And I always say that I am where I am not because of what I'm doing today. It's because of what the things I did 10 years ago.
Definitely.
And if I am present currently, but looking forward to develop those things I need to be in a position which has been mapped, then I have to always be evolving. I have to always be learning. I have to always be challenging myself. And in order for us to grow careers, to be better personally and professionally, I think a lot of the things that you've highlighted here, I mean, they just fit like hand in glove. And that's why you've got this mentorship thing going on. That's why you've got your podcast as well.
I'm doing mentorship. It's because of that realization that everyone has got a potential to go far. You're just in the wrong spaces to realize it. So, or, you don't have people around you to harness it. So that's why it's very important to keep evaluating your environment, because your environment could be your stumbling block for you to really fully get to your full potential.
And as the so you said something, and I was like, I have to find a way to put this into this discussion. And so I didn't. So I'm just going to say it now at the end is you don't find your dream career in a job description.
No.
You create it by chasing your curiosity.
Yeah.
Why that one also was quite interesting for me is because you really touched on those elements, that the job description is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It might change, it might not change, but you have to then drive your own journey.
And the job description is to touch your personality. The way you've driven the job description when you had occupied the role, or when you have occupied the role, may be different, because you may find that I'm good with people, then I can push more deliverables through people, influencing people. And you may find that you're more technical, you push more deliverables when you're technical. So this is also when somebody is talking about like career growth, that I see that, yes, it's where I wanted to be, but I don't think I would really still want to pursue it because I see how they're running it. When you are there, you'll run it differently. You'll put your own personal, that's why personal growth is very important, because it complements your career growth.
So, because we have things to do.
Yeah.
And I'd like just firstly to thank you so much for joining us today on the Shameless Podcast. And even more so is that if people are trying to get a hold of you, maybe they want a mentorship session, maybe they really enjoy listening to you and so they want to subscribe to your podcast, or maybe one of the many webinars or speaking engagements and or many things, how would they do that?
Yeah.
How would they get
So I am also running a podcast, and this season it's actually focusing more on people that are working abroad outside of their home country, because this is also another angle that I found that it's actually not so complex that we think, you know. So just them telling their stories is very inspiring and can also make you want to shift, you know, things that you thought were not shiftable. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Instagram at Khodani Hlatshwayo. I will put, he will put
right
the,
here somewhere
the
in
links
a corner
in the description. And then my YouTube channel where the podcast is running, it is Career and Corporate Hub. You can also find me on TikTok. I talk all things career growth, because why, you know, hoarder in the, like with hoarder onto the information when, you know, we can change the world together. Yeah, with that information.
Absolutely brilliant. And again, like to thank you so much.
This podcast is brought to you by Transformation Leader. You can follow us at www.t4leader.com.